Tonight, Devon becomes a chipmunk.
What on earth was that?
What was that?
Part 3 of the Force 13 member debuts. And David and Lee play the Super Cyclone Challenge. Doubles. Back in 2015, we had a most interesting character walk through our doors at Force 13 HQ. Well, not literally, metaphorically I should say, into our chat room. His name was Jean-Michel Chung from Mauritius. And this is the kind of things he got up to. Crazy guy, if you ask me. If you were watching earlier parts of the week, you would have seen Jean-Michel Chung's debut in his first shows, very patriotic towards Mauritius, where he lives. But Jean-Michel Chung has a very strange streak about him. First of all, he had a massive fascination over Daniel Hudson, who he nicknamed Hotson. He liked to shout at Chinese people in Chinese chat rooms. And when he felt threatened, he would play with a zip.
What do you want with Hudson? Say me, please. What do you want with Hudson? Oh my god.
Well, he was an old member of the project. I don't ever remember him talking, honestly. I think he primarily only talked in conversations with you in a couple of storms that were in the Southwest Indian Ocean. But I don't ever remember him really coming on any of the Skype calls and talking. He did spam the chat rooms quite a bit, which I thought was funny, actually. And he did come up with the nickname Hotson, which is great.
Now, back in 2015, Force 13 was testing out a lot of new things, and one of the great ideas that came about was the idea of Hypo World, a hypothetical world that had all kinds of different countries run by our very own team members. It led to the idea of Hypo World football, no less, as well, along with many other things. But the Hypo World itself was really a platform for people to predict their wildest fantasies, in a way. And here's what a few people had to say about it.
I thought that was a terrific project, and, well, I still have everything for Hypo World on my computer, even on my new one. That was one of the first things I transferred from my old computer to this one, actually. I thought it was a really fun time trying to get the hypothetical storms to work. Unfortunately, there was one person that kind of ruined the entire idea of it, which in the end killed the support for Hypo World. But yeah, I'd be full on in support of bringing back Hypo World because I've got my computer algorithm. It can simulate an entire season in like 5 minutes, like an entire year's worth of storms in like 5 minutes.
For a period in 2017, Force 13 ran another similar project called Hypo Earth, which dealt with hypothetical cyclones on our globe. It's unclear whether any of these projects will be resurrected one day soon, but probably not considering all of the busy things that are going on elsewhere. Right at the very beginning of the formation of the Force 13 team was one feature that brought a lot of it together. In fact, it brought Daniel Hudson onto the team. It was a program called Here Today, Storm Tomorrow, which was sort of a little bit like a tropical weather bulletin, rebranded, I suppose. It was in the middle of the tropical weather bulletin absence. It was a redundant feature now, but here's how it looked at the time. I think it was pretty good for early 2015. There's a certain phase in the life of a project where the experimentation is pretty much off the charts. That pretty much happened here in 2015 on Force 13. The year started off with Here Today, Storm Tomorrow, a nice looking feature presented by myself and lasting over 15 minutes on average. The first first ever episode of Here Today, Storm Tomorrow on Force 13. It's a Force 13 production that will be rounding up the latest storm activity as well as other features. Essentially, these programs will feature content that regularly... Still haven't mastered the green screen effect at all then, I see. Project updates, we're combining those things and we're adding a few more things as well. Right, this is the latest information as of 9 PM UTC. It won't have changed much. What's left of Tropical Depression Mehala in the Western Pacific, Philippine named Amang. It passed over the Philippines. It's now hugging the coastline, the east coast of Luzon, as a barely tropical depression. Winds around 30 miles per hour, possibly lower than that now, and it's barely doing anything to the Philippines. That's why the warnings have been lifted now. Band C turned extratropical a few hours ago. That's moving quite quickly towards the southeast into the South Indian Ocean, well out at sea. And of course we have Cyclone Chedza, which weakened, is now a tropical depression as well, has been since it struck Madagascar a few days ago. And then it was time for Daniel to appear.
Hello, my name's Daniel Hudson, and here's a look back at what happened on this day in the world of storms. At Force 13, we're building a database of what happened each day in the storm record. Formation, dissipation, landfall dates, and anything else that's interesting.
The programme only ran for 8 episodes before it was deemed too cumbersome to run. This pretty much coincided with the first live events on the channel, which soon won favour, and then eventually the Tropical Weather Bulletin returned in its place. Now, an incredibly long time ago on the Force 13 website, there was a feature called Predict a Season, where people could predict the season in terms of named storms and in terms of by each basin around the world. It happened in 2012, 2013, 2014, and I think into 2015. I can't quite remember myself. But Predict a Season brought a lot of people into interacting with Force 13 for the very first time, including one of our members, John Courier.
Well, I was browsing around the Force 13 website and I discovered that there was a Predict a Season thing. I was really like, maybe I should try to throw numbers in and see if I can possibly guess what the season's going to look like. I was off, but off I mean way off. I was like second to last person to have even points in the whole competition. So I was like, well, my forecasting skills could be better. But then again, it was just like playing a lottery. You just threw numbers in there and see if you could guess it. Because really, it's a hard prediction to make because a lot of things can change throughout the year. Conditions can change. You can have a pop-up El Nino or La Nina later in the year that none of the 4 models are caught because El Nino models are absolutely horrible some years. You don't even catch them. Also, it just could be a year where just nothing forms or it's really busy. It's kind of, lack of a better word, a crapshoot most of the time when it comes to those type of predictions.
Akamaro 12 with 3.5, J. Courier 667 with 3.5 as well.
I was in competition with last place, that's about it.
Now, in summer 2015, Tropical Storm Erika was approaching the Western Atlantic and, of course, all of those land areas. We were quite worried for a while that it could strike the east coast of the US as a hurricane, but Marcel Holos, in his very first appearance on the channel, had other ideas.
Well, I discovered Force 13. I was again interested by hurricanes. I was 12 at that time, and I found that they were doing live streams and people. So I called this person Nathan by Skype. I said that I wanted to be part of one of their live streams, and he added me.
And any opinions on Erika by any chance?
Opinions? That's a probability. I watching. focus that Erika is going to be a category 4.
Category 4.
Category 4.
Erika will be cat 4. Very ashamed of myself.
Erika is going to be a category 4.
Category 4. As an aside, I wonder which Marcel everyone prefers, the 2015 one or the 2018 one. Now, during Florence coverage in 2018, Devon picked probably one of the most unfortunate times for his technology to play up, and he sounded a little bit like this.
Yeah.
What happened?
When that happens, I haven't tested it with my new phone yet, but on my old phone, I always had audio problems. No matter what happened, I tried to call through Skype, it would chipmunk me. I called through Discord, it would chipmunk me, and I called through Facebook, anything. It made me into a complete chipmunk. Nobody could understand me. I think that was the night that I was having severe technical issues with my computer. My computer's running very slow. And I was like, I can't rely on my computer to be operational.
I may have missed that little blooper.
Well, if you also missed it, we didn't. Just trying to think about small category 5s. Andrew was small.
I
don't know if it was a small.
Here it is.
What on earth was that?
What was that?
It's still there.
Like a cat.
I don't know if there is a cat around.
I think that's...
We've got a problem. We've got a squeaky voice in the chat, and Devon is going to be very angry because the settings have gone amok on his audio, and now he sounds like a chipmunk.
Oh, yes.
There's
Chipmunk,
the flag.
that's good.
There's the flag.
That is good. Actually, chat,
It's actually
it
raging
is
the chat, I think.
slightly
poor
being
Devon.
whipped apart. Look at the top half.
We wanted to hear from him, but unfortunately he sounds, well,
I feel like the flag is
unintelligible.
3 distinct parts right now.
Wow, look at that.
Devin, if you can hear this, if you type in the chat for us, we'll try to relay your messages.
That's about the worst I've seen it.
But, you know, the Windows has definitely expanded.
Devon's microphone is still malfunctioning terribly.
Blooper wheel.
It's a bad time for that. Well,
He's
I
gonna
don't
be
know.
frustrated.
I don't know what to make of Devon's
And we
mic.
see a lot of
It's the kind of thing we end up dealing with during one of these situations, but we'll try and get that back. Someone needs to get Devon into another room, so he'll just keep trying and it still won't work. Alright, in this section of Force 13 week, we've put the arguments in no particular order in the top 100, so we decided to put them right in the middle. The arguments themselves are ordered, and these are my top 5 arguments on Force 13. Now, I don't think most people will have seen any of these. In at number 5 is the argument that occurred between Strat and Nelson during 2018. I'm not sure if it's really that much of an argument, but the reactions are fantastic.
Just try to hop on my train, Nelson.
Your train has no tracks and is on its side and leaking poisonous gas everywhere over the project.
Oh dear. He'll accuse you of treason next.
You're very pessimistic, Nelson.
Hey Nelson, are you aware of Strat's old account?
What is Strat's old account?
Excellent. I will give it to you and you will enjoy it
Oh no!
immensely. He used...
No!
I never knew who this was. Hold on a minute. Oh.
No!
Oh, was this Strat being an annoying newbie baby?
I never knew who this was when he was sending me email after email in 2013 sounding like a little lost child. And here is the channel.
Oh dear God, yes. Yes.
Oh, you better listen to that. Stratifire!
No!
Oh. Yes. Okay. Alright.
Have you clicked on a video yet?
Oh no.
It is a bit cringe. No, Grandpa, you're looking at the wrong bit.
No, he's looking at
Holy bleep strat! Wait, hold on, guys. This is important. This is important.
13 here. Hurricane Humberto now. Fortunately, I wasn't able to make an update yesterday.
Shut it off! Shut it off!
Stranded somewhere. I wasn't able to get home.
Shut it off! 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 Nelson, turn 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 it off! Nelson, please, I will Venmo you $20 if you turn it off right now.
Oh, well, you better send it.
So you have to really try to stick together here. So I'm just giving hope out to people that were hurt by this tragedy.
Tragedy! Aww!
Right now, a hurricane.
It's a hurricane!
5 miles an hour.
I swear, Nathan, if you feature this on F13.
Why do you sound like you were sucking helium?
Nathan's. Oh wait, don't you have that video? Don't you have that audio clip of me inhaling helium?
I'm not sure.
I think David has it. David has.
And then you listen to my first ever blooper from October 2011, and I sound exactly the same. No, I do sound a bit younger.
PM Eastern Standard Time. They're putting updates on the system every 3 hours because it is closer to the main centers where they can send planes into it. Also because it is an immediate threat to land, and that land is Mexico.
Oh my God! Shut the up!
Shut the hurricane warning, and you see that all that blue is already a tropical storm warning.
Oh my God!
Hurricane watches under some of those areas as well.
As well. You are so sassy, Strat. They are under hurricane watches as well.
David, are you recording this?
Shut the up.
But you did. You've only just started though, haven't you?
Someone's at my door.
Oh, excellent. We have some evidence. Was that on the Ingrid update?
I have no idea.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Expected to become a hurricane very soon, probably becoming a hurricane by the next advisory on the system at around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're putting updates on the system every 3 hours because it is closer.
Just listen to this bit.
They can send planes into it, and also because it is an immediate threat to land, and that land is Mexico. Right around 2 o'clock, this hurricane watch here, I think, will be upgraded to a hurricane warning. And you see that all that blue is already a tropical storm warning, and hurricane watches under some of those areas as well.
As well.
He sounds like Hermione Granger on that clip. You haven't practiced, and I bought this spell book as well as my requirement.
At number 4 is an argument that happened off-air during a Hurricane Matthew stream, right in the thick of it all. It was between Nathan Bell and Devon. Oh boy.
You don't have a reason to. As you were saying, Nathan. Well, we'll wait till after the break. We'll be back in 4 minutes as we get towards 5 o'clock on the East Coast. Stay tuned. This is Force 13 Live.
I know it's Vince, but that guy that was talking for much of the hour can be rude at times. Just saying.
Who's Ethan?
I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
We didn't hear anybody talking over your mic, Nathan.
Yeah, that one right there. That one right there.
That's David. That's David.
Definitely. Not David. David was not.
Devon.
David's alright.
That's the other one, just before me. That was Devon.
Devon.
His name's Devon.
I'm gonna be brutally blunt on that because you definitely interrupted me several times during the hour, and I greatly did not appreciate that.
Yeah, I picked up myself, David.
You also cut across me multiple times, so the feeling's mutual. Okay, let's just go on with the live stream without any...
Devin, thank you, Devin.
Devin, you gotta understand how I am. I ain't just gonna have you just interrupt me several times. I did not mean to interrupt you.
Stop.
Nathan.
Stop.
Nathan.
Stop
I do have the power to remove anyone from the room, and I'm just indicating that, but we've just got to consider that there are others that want to have their say, but we can't afford to talk over the top of each other. I know that we do have internet audio issues, but if we just put a pause and let the person respond.
Yeah.
There are...
I've sent a message to it.
I mean, there are people that I take exception to on the project, but you don't hear me.
Well, that's beside the point, Devin. That is not something to discuss in the live room, mate.
I'll talk to you later tonight, Devin, about it. Me and you on a private Skype chat after midnight.
All right, Nathan. Nathan, please. I will remove anyone.
At number 3 was a time in early 2016 when we had a bit of turmoil on the project, or some members thought so more than others, you could say. Rest assured, things are all pieced together now, but back in 2016, some people got very angry. This conversation may not make total sense because everyone was complaining to David, who had his mic muted on the output. So you can't hear his end of the conversation.
Why keep us in the dark?
He's screaming a bit.
It'll go downhill. Go downhill. But it's going downhill anyway, but it doesn't matter. Force 13 is going downhill! Oh, why we're protecting the darkness? Come on, if you're not going to give me answers, away with you.
Yellow. Okay, Dave, can I just say something to you here at the moment? Look, what has been happening is, well, can you hear me out here, okay? We just don't feel we're being heard, and you removed me from the chat room for no apparent reason. That's just bang out, Dave. That is just, you're not really taking into account what our feelings are. Dave, you're doing exactly the same to us. I respect what you're saying there, Dave. I respect that. It's just, No,
they're not. They're not being taken into account.
Hang on. Look, it's what the thing is that it feels, it's a concurrent thing with all of us as well, is that we're feeling at the moment that the guidelines are sort of just subjugation, not there just to keep the pace. They're there for
In essence, Force 13 started to establish some new rules in the chat rooms, and some people weren't so very happy with it. Now, the moderators can certainly have their own interpretation on what the rules are, and I guess that's what they were more angry at than anything.
I've removed it.
At least he's caring. He's showing that he's worried and he's concerned. I am trying not to use my football anger here, and you are trying my patience.
Yes, what the hell was called the garbage?
On you go, Marcel. See, Marcel's concerned. So if we're the only people who are bloody concerned about this, well, I'm sorry. You can say what you like, but Force 13's finished. I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
Well, Force 13 wasn't finished, and David was voted in by the users of the Force 13 Discord server to moderate that very server in early November 2018. Now, you don't expect Marcel to ever be angry at anyone, or for him to be, delivering the lines to people, so to speak. Well, that happened in late 2015, when Devin McDaniel, who was on the Force 13 server, was kicked from the room. Who knows why? Marcel had a lot of things to say to him, and he wasn't very happy.
Oh my god!
You did it, didn't you?
Do you know what? Oh, do you know? Do you know what the reasons would?
What would the reasons be? I only had one strike.
Because you're a fool. Okay, nice. It's not nice to hop you in the chat room, okay?
Tell me why.
Because you are so annoying. For Nathan, for Cesar, for all of us, okay, nice.
Maybe he could kick you.
Oh God, oh my God, little baby. Oh my God.
Maybe he should take you by your horns and throw you out the door.
Oh my God, little. What the hell is wrong with you? So,
You know what, Marcel?
What?
Tuck your tail between your legs.
Shut up.
And at number 1, my favourite argument is Daniel Hudson versus Michael Scott.
What do you call this? I remember Cyclone Fantala. I did 18 updates on it during its lifetime.
Right.
Some of them maybe the information wasn't quite correct because I was going off my own predictions at the time because of there was an official advisory out.
Okay.
So don't.
So is this just basically a chat room where you just slag me off then, is it?
Well, no, it's just I want you to just get the fact that you piss a lot of people off with this.
Can you give me names then?
Well, it is just like sort of Craig and me and a lot of the other team members do find you annoying.
Oh. Well, if they've got any problem with me, they can always talk about it with me.
I'm talking about it with you now, but you're trying to dodge it.
I'm not trying to dodge it at all. You're just using it to insult me and call me names.
Oh. Well, I can't really remember what the cause was of the actual whole entire argument thing. But I think it was just something to do with some disagreement between Michael and some members of the team or something. And it all boiled down to on one day, Michael decided to add me to a Skype conversation where he essentially kept roasting me about my position within the project. And he started out in questioning me about things because he didn't like. Because I can't remember, but I think I was a moderator or something at the time, and he was disagreeing with me. He didn't really like the way I was doing things, and it sort of boiled down to him saying that I never did anything for the project, and I shouldn't be on the team. And it eventually just went downhill really quickly. He got really irrationally angry. I could hear him in the background. I don't know how to describe it, breathing really heavily in some kind of fit of rage, and then at the end he kept insulting me and stuff, and eventually he said that he'd be recording the thing because I was talking about a few other members as well during the call.
And he just took your anger out on Justin as well. And
yeah, because it was coming around with you as well.
And kicked
pissed me right off.
I'd say that's a violation of freedom of speech, kicking people about because you don't want them here.
No, because this is a private chat room to talk to people about what's been happening.
Well, so's the Force 13 chat room.
No, this is about what's been happening between us.
Mm-hmm.
This stays out of the Force 13 chat room.
Right.
Because I had already considered leaving the team anyway by this time last week because of all the been happening.
Okay. Can I ask where the rest of the other people are? Have you kicked them all out?
Well, Craig's the only one that I can actually trust in this team because of people like you taking a piss all the time.
Okay.
And I'm sick of it, really. I'm sick and tired of all this people taking the piss constantly. So it didn't help you writing that thing on Wiki this morning.
I didn't do the wiki thing. You've got no proof that I did the wiki thing.
Yes, Daniel, you say, well, you're saying, like, oh, you don't have any proof, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, someone who was innocent wouldn't be saying that.
Right. Just saying. No proof. What's that noise?
Background noise or something, I don't know.
Me getting extremely pissed off.
So yeah, essentially it just boiled down to Michael saying that he was going to tell, because we've been discussing a few other members in the call and their recent behaviour, and he said he was recording the call and that he was going to be passing it on to them. So eventually I spilled the tango of the fact that I was also recording the call, and he just lost it. Essentially, he called me a pedantic little swear word and ended the call, and that was that really.
Now, in the fall of 2015, you may have seen in part 1 we were talking about the launch of Force 13 AU, and I took a flight from here in the UK to a place that I thought was Australia but actually wasn't. It was fake Australia, I later branded it as, and this is how that trip went, just to remind you. Every so often I still bump into people who still think that I actually went to Australia.
November the 1st, 2015, which will cover all sorts of fantastic features concerning Australia, such as regular weather forecasts, cyclone updates, and severe weather, of course. As you can see, I'm now on my fantastic plane flight across the whole world. And it's going to be fantastic doing my trailer for the Force 13 Australia on the opposite side of the world. Is that good? Hold on a minute. That's my plane over there. I'm not on it. Wrong one. We've picked the wrong plane. We've picked the wrong plane. Did you get your tickets? Well, I don't know how it happened, but we're on the wrong plane here, guys. So now, after boarding the wrong plane, only trouble lay ahead. And this wasn't the only thing that I'd missed. Our speed is going to be very similar to what the current wind speed is of Patricia right now when we take off. It's a pretty fast plane. It's funny to think right now as we're taking off here from Manchester Airport that there's a live event going on Force 13 as I speak. As you can see, we're here in the land of the upside down, I think. It wasn't actually as warm as I thought it would be when we arrived here, because I expected Australia very warm, like 32 degrees Celsius. We didn't really care which part of Australia, to be honest, but I must have ended up in Hobart or somewhere. It's not particularly warm here. I mean, it's warmish, but
G'day, mate.
Shut up.
In case you didn't know, the actual location was Malta. Now, back in 2015, we saw one of the greatest natural phenomena here on this side of the Atlantic. Of course, it happened in the US 2 years later for some of us. A solar eclipse. And not only did we get to see part of the eclipse, but we were also in the air at the time when that happened. Here it is. The morning of March 20th, 2015 started off pretty chilly and quite overcast as well on the ground, although the cloud was fairly light. However, we still decided that we'd be up for the flight and we'd be flying through the cloud up to the air above to see the eclipse in all of its glory.
And you may remember the total eclipse that we had back in 1999, if you're old enough to remember. I know I'm not. The next total eclipse over the UK will occur in the year 2090.
The fullest extent of the eclipse occurred further north than where we were, but you can see on the satellite image just what a profound effect it had over the whole northwestern part of Europe. Now, how are your New Year's parties? Well, if you've never attended a Force 13 New Year party, I guess it goes a little bit like this. These days, by the time we reached the last minute of the countdown, we're completely slurring our speech. That was certainly the case in the studio, or was it? Well, let's see if you notice. And we have some random storm imagery, some of it is missing. I've really not really touched that properly, it's a real mess. But here we go, down to the final 50 seconds of the year.
This year has been such a heck of a year. And
no doubt we'll be doing it again this time around, but there was another surprise that occurred in this particular new year as we entered 2018. 4, 3, 2, 1, and into the new year with an explosion, of course. And as you can see outside Force 13 HQ, people still getting very excited. Blimey. Oh, right outside our door, what's going on there? That was one of the most craziest things I ever saw on that webcam. But the thing about New Year, I'm not really into it personally, but what does get me into it a little bit more is when I'm doing it with the team and when I'm doing it with the viewers. It makes it feel much more exciting, and I hope it's the same for those who are watching at the same time as well. Now, back during Hurricane Week 2015, a whole 3 years ago now, good lord, was the first ever appearance of our new game show, as it was back then, the Super Cyclone Challenge. I'm sure you'll be seeing them this week in the doubles series. But this is what the first games looked like in that first run during Hurricane Week 2015. Well, if it ever comes up in the trivia, Nathan was wearing a blue shirt and the first contestant on the Super Cyclone Challenge was Cesar Gamez.
Hello Nathan, hello people.
Hello world. Another little piece of information that you might find interesting is that the first 2 episodes of the Super Cyclone Challenge were filmed live and edited live as it was going on as well, so the music played live and the score, which was always displayed at the bottom right hand of the screen, was also updated live by me. That went to recorded format in episode 3 and has been the case ever since. Hurricane Debbie of 1961 is known for affecting which island group? Is it the Cape Verde Islands, the British Isles, the Canary Islands, or the Cayman Islands?
Oh my god.
Hurricane Debbie, 1961, affected which island group? Cape Verde Islands, British Isles, Canary Islands, or the Cayman Islands? Think about it. Take a lifeline if you need it.
I think it was the Cayman Islands.
Final answer?
Yes.
Oh!
Yes.
Caesar. Oh! That was so close, Caesar.
1 second, right?
Thanks. You had 1 second left. That was your final answer. You said the Cayman Islands, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, this is for 70 miles an hour. Caesar, do you think you're right?
Yes. Okay, that's long silence then.
It's a very long, tense silence. Caesar, I'm sorry, it's the wrong answer.
So it was a Cape Verde-like, or what is?
Caesar, Hurricane Debbie affected the British Isles.
The British? What the?
Yes, it hit Ireland.
Wow.
Caesar, what can I say? Now in 2018 it was decided that we really needed a little bit more support on the project in order to achieve our goals, and our goals are very ambitious, very large here on the project. Of course we want people to benefit as well if they can support us, and so we launched a Patreon account, and so far it's been a little bit of a success. We hope it continues to build and that we continue to offer more to our patrons in the future as well. So here's a little more about what Patreon is and how we're doing it and how you can benefit from it as well.
Well, it's just a way, I guess, of giving back to the project. I mean, it's not run on any kind of profit or anything like that, and I think it's a good way of supporting a small business essentially, and I think it has helped. It has helped out substantially because the project recently moved into a new studio, and I believe that maybe the Patreon helped to contribute that in some kind of way. But overall, I'd just say it's nice to be able to support a small channel that's trying to grow and get somewhere. Not that it already isn't, but it's just nice to see a channel grow and to help contribute to that in some way or another.
Force 13's presence on Patreon was designed to be a way to give back to the project and everything that it does. All funds that we do raise through the generosity of our viewers are invested back into the project, either to deal with the running costs and the increasing costs of doing that at an ever-growing level, and to make sure that the project is continuing to progress year on year and day by day. To continue our operations as they're going today, however, we do need a little bit of your help. $35 per month does guarantee that Force 13 can run as it is today for the remainder of 2018. Now, $70 per month would allow Force 13 to invest in new hardware and software, which would go a long way towards being able to make it a sustainable project at its quality that it is currently producing. Those targets have been reached, and as a result, we do now have increased capability. The game on the project is to get to $300 per month, which would guarantee the running of the project through 2019 and beyond, with upgraded software and hardware and everything that is needed to advance the project on towards the next level and even the level beyond, because there is so much potential in this and I really want to see it work. Now, in order to do that, obviously, what's in it for you? There is something in it for you, unlike many other organisations that do these kinds of things. Well, $1 per month guarantees your Discord role as a patron, a nice shiny golden brand at the top of the Discord server if you're part of it. Of course, you can always ask for an invitation, send a message to Fool13. At $5 per month is the Privileged Eyes rank, where you can see new videos when they're uploaded before anyone else. That of course doesn't apply to Storm updates, that applies to full season animations and anything else that isn't of a necessity to get out on time. And we hope you can help us in any way you can. If not in patronage, then in your ability. If you think you can assist the project in your actual skills as well, we'd be very pleased indeed to hear from you, and hopefully we'll find a way to get you involved. Latest on Cyclone Mekunu, which is making landfall on Oman right now at 1 AM Gulf Standard Time on May 26. Well, you get the idea with that. We appreciate your support in all forms that it comes in, and we always will. Now, cast your minds back to early last year. We saw the very first GOES 16 imagery during tropical cyclone activity in the Northern Hemisphere, and to talk about that imagery when it first came out and their reactions are some of our members.
I think it was Dora that was the first storm that was really on it, and that was really cool for me to watch, just to see the 1 minute imagery of the storm and just all like the convection just bubbling up. And even some gravity waves within there, just to see that in like full, like HD, well, not HD, but high resolution, very, high frame rate. It was incredible to me to see. And then it just got even more jaw dropping as the season went on. See all the activity in the Atlantic, and less so in the East Pacific during 2017.
It came online. Well, it came online in January, mid to late January, I think, as preliminary data, and I was comparing it to GOES the previous satellite the satellite that was there previously beforehand, GOES 13 and 16, and the differences were quite remarkable. You were able to see more in detail what was going on, and you were able to see more up to date things. Like with GOES 13. I think the rapid scan was like one image every 3 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. But the rapid scan on GOES 16 can go up to an image every 30 seconds, which is, I think, absolutely phenomenal. And images are way higher resolution as well than GOES 13. GOES 13 takes a full disk image, I think, every 15, 30 minutes, but GOES 16 does it in 15 or 10 minutes, something like that. A remarkable feat in technology, certainly.
Now, it's not all that long ago that we remember Hurricane Florence. Of course, it peaked twice as a Category 4 and impacted the eastern coast of the US as a significant hurricane, even though it had weakened substantially from that peak. Here are a few selected parts from the Florence coverage and some of our fans and team reactions towards it.
Me personally, it was a blast tracking it, being able to do what I've seen others on major media outlets do, not only tracking but being out in the storm. While I was covering it, I actually had a live shot from outside of my HQ, letting everybody see just how bad the conditions were 80 miles in. And in terms of how we covered it for 13 itself, I think we did a phenomenal job. The information we got out there was very detailed, very informative, and I honestly believe we saved a lot of lives with the information we were getting out to everybody.
One of the things that didn't make it onto the coverage was the NGX2 model, thank goodness. And most of us remember seeing the track of the storm when it was published on Force 13. Even though it lost that intensity, it remained a Stage 6 up until and beyond landfall, just a little bit there before weakening drastically. I think people were expecting significantly higher damage statistics than what appears to be the case now, but Florence was still a very big storm to track, and it kept us busy for a full 8 days. Now, over the years, Force 13 has not only done its own media, but I've also been invited on several other mediums to talk about the project and all the things that it's done in the past few years. There's been several radio interviews. Some of them were quite old, from when I had much less experience than I do today. We're going to take a look at some of those now. A funny little fact first. During Hurricane Matthew, Force 13 was apparently on a radio station in the Turks and Caicos Islands, literally picking up our stream to broadcast to the public. That probably wows me more than any of the other radio interviews that I have done, but those were still interesting as well, and exciting as a matter of fact. The first one was on Bolton FM, a local radio station in my area, in late 2013, just after Haiyan.
Joining us in the studio now is Nathan Thigh. Hi, Nathan.
Hello.
Now
Good evening.
Good evening. You've got a friend with you, but we don't know where to mention that he's here because he doesn't want to go on mic.
Never mind, he doesn't want to. How are you? Alex is his friend. How are you, Alex? You okay?
Not too bad, thanks.
Good, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
Bad.
So you'll have been like this tragic event that's happened in the Philippines.
Yes, very recently.
Whew. You can't believe a weather system over 300 miles wide, can you?
Well, that is, in terms of typhoons, that's actually not particularly large. There have been larger systems in the past, but still 300 miles is nothing to be sniffed at.
We don't want that round here, do we not?
No.
What is the difference, and why do they call them typhoons in the east, but in the west, i.e. the United States and South America, they call them hurricanes? Is there a difference, or is it just a different name?
Well, it is just a different name in essence. I also appeared on the local BBC station, BBC Radio Manchester, on several occasions, with the most recent one being back in summer 2017.
It's not often that you hear the two words tornado and Wigan in the same sentence, so let's speak to Nathan Foy. He's a storm enthusiast, runs the YouTube channel Force 13. He's currently at Manchester Airport, actually. Morning to you, Nathan.
Hello, good morning.
Is this unusual? What is a mini tornado? What would people in Wigan have seen and experienced last night?
Well, it's very interesting. Sorry about any noise in the background, by the way. But yeah, these things can happen sometimes, particularly in the thunderstorms that we had yesterday, which was all across the northwest, particularly further north. But especially in the Wigan area where I was there recording the thunderstorms, and it was quite intense. But in some particularly strong ones, you can often get some vortexes, tornadic-like systems that roll through, and they can cause some damage.
So for a few years now, we've been doing a new kind of animation, a Team Hypo. It's sort of a recognition of how the team looks, I suppose. You know, it's a really big struggle every year to get everyone's name in. Sometimes we don't quite manage it, and sometimes we have two people's names for one letter slot. It's so difficult. We're doing a Team Hypo again this year. You'll probably see it closer to the end of the week, but for now, here's what a few other people think about it. My favourite Team Hypo was the 2015 one. I believe that was the first Team Hypo to come out, and some of the reactions were pretty amusing. There's Alan.
Alan! Not much.
Has he got a boss?
Alan? I don't know, but it's not spelled the same way that I would spell Alan.
Yeah, indeed. Me neither.
With an E? I would just like to report this right now. Justin said I'll be on the YouTube chat.
Tropical Depression 2.
Excellent.
Tropical Storm Barrett.
Yes.
Yes, Tropical Storm Barrett. It's not just Tropical Storm Barrett, it's Hurricane Barrett!
Tropical Storm Barrett.
Drop the bomb.
Hurricane Barrett.
Yeah.
Tropical Storm Barrett.
Hurricane
Depression Barrett. Remnant Low Barrett.
Alright, you don't have to say every single intensity change. Here comes Charles.
Is there a Hurricane Gaston?
Jackson.
One day.
Oh wait, there's gonna be a Category 5 Hurricane Wanda. I know it.
Well, that's new.
Daniel, can you see this? Yeah.
Yeah. I always thought New Orleans was in Florida.
Yo, here comes Hurricane Devin.
Hurricane Devin.
There's Devin.
Yep. Now Devin's gonna wreck the Bahamas here. Watch this.
Don't be silly.
Where are you going, Devin? You're supposed to wreck the Bahamas.
Fire Hurricane Devin.
Oh,
Devin.
Hurricane Devin's being very foolish.
Got close to Bermuda though.
Extra tropical.
Kind of looks like Joaquin.
The Team Hypo for this year, I've already seen most of the storms, like not the animations at all. That isn't done as the time of this recording, at least not that I know of. Is it done? And I've seen most of it, and it is incredibly fascinating in the fact that it is so absurd.
There's games.
Theater games!
And Polos! Look, it's Polos!
Here's Polos.
And Danielle and John. And Klein.
Myself, Polos makes me laugh. And there's Devin.
Too many things going on.
Polos was terrible.
Yeah.
What is John doing? Now, what is John going to do? I bet it's going to be a major Category 5.
We get a bit too close to those islands. Ooh.
No, that just misses Jamaica though.
Yeah, struggled around Jamaica. Landfall in Cuba though.
Landfall.
Oh wow.
Oh, don't do that, John.
And then it weakened, and then it's intensifying again.
Oh my God. Okay.
Hurricane.
Oh, that one
John.
was interesting. What year was that?
It's not real.
Lauren Martino.
Hurricane. What is this? Tropical Storm War?
Yeah. I couldn't find any other L's.
Yes, what fun. Well, the 2018 What Might Have Been animation will be released on Thursday during this Force 13 week. Or will it? Well, that's the question. This is Force 13 week, and it will be the Team Hypo releases on Thursday for all of our patrons, and on Friday for the rest of us out there. Well, this is the live coverage again, or what am I even saying at this juncture? Let's see if we can introduce the team at this point. Quite a large team again tonight to talk about everything that's just happened and everything in between. My god, where do we begin?
The fights?
The fights.
Yes, oh my god.
I feel like you missed one of my quotes.
Hmm?
You missed one of the quotes of mine.
Well, there's a lot to that video, your fight.
That was not a good experience.
Why was that not number one?
Well, it's... As stated, I thought it would be nice to just sort of break it all up in the very middle to put all the arguments there. Because I don't want to, you know, highlight the arguments as our best moments. Although Strats isn't strictly an argument, I suppose. Although it did start as an argument, and then it just became a humiliation.
The roasting. It's complete roasting.
It was basically me yelling no and smashing my hand on my...
And we loved every minute of it.
Blasted the volume of my 12-year-old YouTube channel.
And we loved every minute of it, and I'm sure the viewers did as well. Did they? Well, you tell us.
Yeah, they did as well.
As well.
For those that don't know,
everyone did.
When I was 12, back in 2013, I was one of Nathan's biggest fans. And
You were 12, I was 10.
Often. I asked him to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and he did. And then I asked him for his computer.
That was one of my biggest regrets in life.
Brutally honest.
God, you're like one of these some of these extreme fanboys in the chat.
That was a stint that lasted for about a month.
So what I want to know.
Realized I wasn't really going to become a famous forecaster. I gave up at like 30 subs. I'm down to 6
Gave up
right
at 30
now.
subs. You're still
I'm down to
counting.
6 subs. No, because I used that account
Countdown to
watch my
0,
YouTube
guys.
videos now.
Countdown to 0 subs.
Everyone
used
who
that account to watch
subscribed to
videos.
Strat's old channel just unsubscribed.
What I'm wondering is what is that emoji there?
Which emoji where?
There's an emoji on the top right of his screen. Is that like a pillow or something?
Oh, just a minute. Let's see if we can zoom in.
Wait,
Strat,
what is that?
what is that?
Oh, let me get this. I won this at a fair. Hold up, let me get this.
You won it.
This is gonna be fun.
What is this?
I actually got 2 of these for you guys.
God.
Okay, Strat,
Great.
that may be good, but I won this at a Dave & Buster's. Hold up.
Oh god, it's show and tell now, is it?
Oh yeah, do you guys want
What did this turn into?
Oh my god.
Do you guys want the Rasta banana too?
I win.
I highly despise.
I won like a panda from like Kung Fu.
What happened to your Flex Seal? Did you?
Man.
This is mine. I'm just gonna put it right here.
A couple years ago, but I left in my room every night. It'd be staring at me as I tried to fall asleep, and it got too creepy, so I just threw it away.
Great.
But I have something more important.
Notice the Strat and Ram. I highly
Again.
despise any emoji plushes.
Well,
You know what? I love mine. It is
actually,
comfortable to sleep on.
Did my ex get me those? I swear if she did, I have to burn them.
Hey, I got to defend Strat because he is in the same state I'm in. What's up, Ram? Anyways.
Nothing much really.
At least we get to see At least we get to see Ram HQ now. Favo HQ right here.
We've seen it before
or
on the Super
Ram's
Cyclone
Room
Challenge.
HQ.
Okay. Ram played the Super Cyclone Challenge once.
Well, I personally
I
haven't
did.
seen Ram live, so this is a first
Yes,
for me.
sir. Yes, Tim, of course, is still one of our newest members, and so's Frank. Joined around the same time. I'm sure we'll see them on the debuts at some point. We've got the debuts part 3 coming up. Not much interesting in that apart from Strat and
Yes, the turtle debut.
No.
and Ram's voice, of course. How could I forget?
Not much interesting other than Strat. That goes still no.
What did you say?
You said not much interesting other than Strat, so make sure you tell Nelson that for me.
Well, Nelson's not on this part.
Well, we're gonna have to show him this part of the stream then.
Right then. Well, I'm sure we'll have a round 2 with Nelson and Strat at some point then in that case. Hey, look at him, he's so ready. He's so chuffed. He gets to fight Nelson
rounds
again.
2, 3, and 4. We're probably going around 50.
Strat, you realize these antics of yours is why we had the band Strat going on last night on the stream.
No, we found out actually when that started. It started because of one of the Guess the Storm things. Hank got mad at me. It started on September 7th. We don't. It started.
And it's just lived on forever because it makes
started
perfect
in the
sense.
stream chat.
Yeah, that was in the top one. That was in the top 100 where he threatened to leave call if you put another crappy East pack up. And what'd you do?
Yeah.
I put a good East pack.
Well,
up.
what you do when he puts a crappy Eastern Pacific storm is you just start guessing every single East Pacific storm that's ever occurred because it's got to be one of them.
I got a few right by doing that.
Yeah, if I remember right, 3 lightning strikes that night.
Something like that.
Alright, I need to start playing the Super Cyclone Challenge before I sneeze on air. So...
Wait, can I show the storm quickly?
No, not after our conversation that we've just had right now. We're now going on to the Super Cyclone Challenge. Send in your questions. When it finishes, we'll take some questions, and we will also... Go away, Strat. And we will also... Yeah, thank you for that. And we will also talk about storms that occurred in...
That is why we banned Strat.
Yeah. We'll also talk about storms that formed between May and July 2018 in our third part of the review. Marcel, any last words? Final word with you.
Okay, so I am back. I was watching the video of this day of the week, so I can turn on my camera.
We've not got all night.
You got 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
9, 8.
You count slow.
7, 6, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, there's all the viewers. They're all gone. Here's the Super Cyclone Challenge, Part 3. Welcome to yet another installment of the Super Cyclone Challenge, the third this week. My name's Nathan Foy, and it's doubles yet again for Force 13 week, a very special series of the Super Cyclone Challenge. Tonight, I am joined by another dynamic duo, David and Lee. Good evening.
Good evening, and let's see how we go.
Before we get on with it, is there anything you'd like to mention?
Well,
how far would you like to get?
I'd be happy if I get to Cat 1.
Hurricane status?
Yeah. What do you think, David?
Do you think you'll work well as a team?
Oh, we've had a couple of tests, and
really,
we did pretty good. So
been rehearsing.
If we get Cat 1, I'll be happy. But tropical
try
storm. Yep, that's and how long? And it's the first one for me.
That's
right.
The 90s of lifeline.
Oh yes, everything will be explained. Don't you worry. In due time. I guess that would be now. Of course, all the phases are still the same. Of course, this time, one of the lifelines is different for the Super Cyclone Challenge doubles. Indeed, instead of the Ask a Force 13 team member, that's been scrapped, and now we will have the half-time lifeline. We'll tell you about that in just a moment. But for the contestants tonight, David and Lee, the time limit has been doubled on all of the questions because they need a little bit more thinking time and conferring time to agree with each other, I guess. Everyone has needed that so far. So hopefully that will help you a lot. So, the lifelines. There's the 50-50 still. Flip the question, where you get to change the question in question. The risk lifeline. Ooh, I'm not sure we want that. And if you get the first 5 questions in a row correct without the use of a lifeline, you will then get the double dip as well, where you get to choose 2 of the answers for the one question. And then you've got the half-time lifeline, which is sort of like a last-ditch thing as well. If you're really stuck, you can use the lifeline, advance to the next question without having to do anything, but your time will be halved for all future questions, and in the later stages, when there's no time limit, a 1-minute limit will be imposed.
Oh, I can't afford to use that then.
So that is sort of a last-ditch thing, maybe just to get you over the line towards the next safe zone, perhaps. A lot of strategy involved. Any questions?
Can you remember what the safe zones are? What's just roughly?
So the safe zones are at tropical storm intensity, 40 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour as soon as you get to hurricane status, 115 miles an hour as soon as you get to major hurricane status, 150 miles per hour as soon as you get to super hurricane status, and 180 miles an hour when you get to mega hurricane status. No one's done that in a while. The last one, I think, was Marcel.
It was until he ruined it.
Until he ruined it.
Yes, when he got the...
Yeah, when he used the rest. Yeah.
Are we ready?
Anyway. Yes.
We're ready.
Let's try and race you up to 40 miles an hour. There will be 40 seconds of thinking time. Obviously, you have to answer within that time limit. Otherwise, you're out.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So let me just to reiterate, if you're both stuck, just say lifeline. If you say it together, the timer will stop and then you have to choose a lifeline. You have to agree on your answer. You have to both say final answer on the same answer, okay?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Here is the first question. Should be a piece of cake. We'll see. Hopefully it will be easy for you two, because I think you're a part of it. Force 13 broadcasted 8 days of live coverage during which 2018 storm? Was it Beryl, Chris, Florence, or Oscar?
I'll say C.
Florence, David?
Florence.
Final answers?
Yes.
Final.
It's the correct answer, well done. So, off the mark, 20 miles an hour. Here's the next question for 30. Another one about Florence. Hurricane Florence struck which part of the United States in 2018? Was it A, the Pacific Northwest, B, the Pacific Southwest, C, the Eastern Seaboard, or D, the Gulf Coast?
Eastern Seaboard.
Eastern Seaboard. David?
Can you just go through them again?
Hurricane Florence struck which part of the United States in 2018? The Pacific Northwest, the Pacific Southwest, the Eastern Seaboard, or the Gulf Coast?
I'll go with Eastern.
You both agreed? Final answers?
Final answer.
Final answers. You are up to 30 miles an hour. Well done.
I remember following that stuff.
Number 3 gets you to 35. And here it is.
Close to tropical storm.
Which storm came before Hurricane Chris in the Atlantic in 2018 this year? Was it Babs, Beryl, Alberto, or Alex? Immediately before Chris.
I'll say Beryl.
I'll go with Beryl.
Final answers?
Final answer.
Not a problem. It is the correct answer. 35 miles an hour. One more to tropical storm status. They're all 2018 questions at the minute. Here's the next one. What category did 2018's Typhoon Mangkhut peak at? Was it category 1, 2, 3 or 5?
Cat 5, mate.
5,
What do you
I'd
reckon?
say. Yeah.
Final answers.
Well, we know it's one of the
Yeah, one of the
systems
major
that-
ones, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll go
5.
Cat 5. And
Yeah,
the
definitely.
final.
Yeah, definitely final.
Final answers, which
Well,
will
you-
get you the tropical storm status if it's correct. Do you think it's right?
I hope so. I think it was a 5.
Yes.
Oh, of course it was. It is 40 miles an hour for David and Lee. Now, I don't know who's going to win the fight to get the name. Tropical Storm David Lee, a basin crosser perhaps?
Yeah. Just call it David Lee.
Has there been a Cyclone David in the southern hemisphere?
Probably.
Yeah, there has, David.
Well, here's the next question. David, this is a terrible time to go off topic.
We'll talk about that after.
A whole minute to confer on these questions, a minute long. You'll have on the phase 2 questions, 4 questions away from hurricane status, which is what you wanted. So here is the next question. In 2017, Cyclone Debbie impacted which country? I have a feeling you might know this. Is it A, New Zealand, B, Fiji, C, Australia, or D, Mauritius?
C, Australia.
Yeah, it's definitely Australia. There's some history. So
I would have laughed if David got it wrong.
It's Australia, you go. Confirm that they said it's Australia.
Final answers.
Yeah.
We're final answer.
50 miles an hour in the bank, correct. Audience applauding as always.
I don't think there was a part of the lifeline then, so that's surprised, right?
That is correct. You now get the double dip lifeline at your disposal as well. So again, just say lifeline, it stops the clock, and then you have to choose one. Question 6 gets you to 60 miles per hour. And here it is. Typhoon Haiyan was one of the deadliest storms to strike which country? Is it Japan, Vietnam, the Philippines, or Thailand?
Philippines. What do you reckon, Lee? Philippines or Japan? No.
I'll see.
Typhoon Haiyan of 2013, one of the deadliest storms to strike which country?
I remember the storm, but I forgot the old place. I think you need to use a lifeline, by the way.
Yeah, I think we'll do a lifeline.
Stop the clock.
27 seconds on the clock. Which lifeline are you going to go with?
I was thinking the 50-50.
50-50?
That would be one.
Yeah, we'll go 50-50.
Alright, the computer will now take away 2 of the wrong answers. So of course you're now split between just the 2. And it's left you Vietnam and the Philippines. Start the clock.
Philippines.
Final answers.
Yeah.
Philippines.
Yeah.
Final answer, David?
Yes.
Yes.
That is the correct answer. Well done. Up to 60 miles per hour.
I just wasn't sure there, David, so I just had to...
Yes,
Well,
Vietnam, that would have been what the Chinese weather service along with the Vietnam weather service. It had to be the Philippines because there's more people there.
The next question will get you to 70 miles per hour, and here it is. What was the first storm of the 2016 Pacific typhoon season? The first storm. Is it A, Hyma, B, Lion Rock, C, Nipatak, or D, Pseudolaw?
What was the first one?
The first storm of the 2016 Pacific typhoon season. Is it Hyma, Lion Rock, Nipatak, or Pseudolaw?
It's going to be 3 or 4.
Nipatak? 30 seconds.
That was the earliest one, wasn't it?
it's in the first of that season, though.
Oh. You don't want to do
20 seconds.
No, it can't be 55, that's fine.
You can do the double dip.
Just another lifeline.
Another lifeline? Okay, we'll go with it. 14 seconds left on the clock. So the lifeline's available to you right now. The flip the question, a completely new question arrives at your fingertips. The risk lifeline, or the double dip, where you get to choose 2 of the answers, and the half-time lifeline. What will it be?
Flip the question.
Yeah, let's go for flip the question.
Flipping the question?
Yeah.
We'll get a new question for 70 miles an hour. Another minute on the clock, and here is the new question. The Australian region area of responsibility extends how far east? Is it A, 100 degrees east, B, 140 degrees east, C, 160 degrees east, or D, the international dateline?
160 degrees east.
Yeah, you'll know more about this, David, so
So you're both sure on that one? Final answers?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, David knows when he's confident, and was it correctly placed? Yes, of course it was. It is the correct answer. 70 miles an hour, one away from hurricane status. But will they get there?
Hope so.
So this is for 75 miles an hour hurricane status, which is what you wanted at the beginning of the show. 2 lifelines down, you've still got 3, including a very precious double dip lifeline, where you get to choose 2 of the answers. Which recent storm made the strongest landfall? Is it A, Hurricane Matthew, B, Hurricane Harvey, C, Hurricane Florence, or D, Hurricane Michael?
I think it's on tornado. Repeat the question again.
Which recent storm made the strongest landfall? Hurricane Matthew, Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Florence, Hurricane Michael?
Uh,
30 seconds.
What do you think, David?
Can we? What's the choice available to us?
Matthew, Harvey, Florence, or Michael, or a lifeline, or you can walk away. 15 seconds though.
Lifeline.
Lifeline, 12 seconds on the clock. Which one are you going to go with? You've got the double dip, you've got the risk, and you've got the half time.
Let's go for the double dip.
Yep, I'll go for the double dip.
Alright, let me explain this. You'll get to choose the first answer right now. Once you've committed to the answer, I'll tell you if it's correct or wrong. If it's wrong, you'll have 12 seconds to give me another answer, okay? What's your first answer going to be?
I'll say Michael.
Hurricane Michael. Yeah?
No.
Yeah.
No?
You don't want to go for Michael. Right.
Matthew, Harvey, or Florence?
It's not Florence anyway.
Harvey.
You think Harvey? We'll go for Harvey then.
You're going to go with Harvey. If this is wrong...
Yeah, it's 2 answers anyway, David.
If it's
so-
wrong, you'll have 12 seconds left to give me another answer from the list of Matthew,
Right,
Florence,
so
and Michael. I can tell you now...
Right, go for Harvey first.
I can tell you that the correct answer is not Harvey. You've got 12 seconds.
Right, I think it's Michael, you know.
Are you going with it?
No, I'm going for Michael.
Final answer.
Yeah.
Final answer.
It's locked in. Do you think it's right?
It's 50-50, Nathan.
No, it isn't.
I was looking.
Has it?
You already did that.
Yeah.
No, we're
I was
supposed to be
looking at
10.
Matthew.
Supposed to be 10.
I was looking at Matthew or Florence, and Harvey was definitely before Matthew. So, alright, we'll go for Michael.
You went with Michael, it was locked in.
Already locked in.
I can tell you Hurricane Michael is the right answer, and you are Category 1 Hurricane. That wasn't the question though, David. The question was which one made the strongest landfall?
Yeah. So
you do know that, right?
You just said that. You just said the question, David.
Anyway.
No, Will.
What?
I'm glad that the hurricane status. So.
You want to walk away, mate?
Not yet to see the next question.
You got to get to the next question first. But I must tell you that you have reached the safe zone. 75 miles an hour is the safe zone, so you may as well play the next question, even if you get it wrong. Okay?
So it's safe.
75 guaranteed.
I like this.
75 guaranteed unless you take the risk lifeline. Then it's not guaranteed.
Listen carefully this time.
Here's the next question, which will get you to 80 miles an hour. You'll have 1 minute and 20 seconds. Hurricane Fran made landfall in which US state in 1996? Is it Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, or Virginia? If you've got no idea, then I don't know, you might want to guess.
It's definitely East Coast, so
it's East Coast. They all guess it, David, because you never know.
Sorry, can you just repeat the question?
Hurricane Fran in 1996 made landfall in which US state? Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, or Virginia?
I'm gonna
Forget Virginia, I reckon Florida or North Carolina.
I'll say North Carolina.
Alright, we'll go North Carolina.
35 seconds left on the clock. It's the final answer that you've given me. You've gone with North Carolina. You got any idea? Or is it just a guess?
It's really a guess. I've not even seen that far back, so it's a guess, really.
I can tell you that guess has got you the right answer. 80 miles an hour it is. How far will they go?
There you are then, see?
Crikey.
What cat did it reach?
Just tell us how dumb is that system?
Well, according to Force 13, Category 4. Here's not at landfall. Here's the next question for 90 miles per hour. Here it is. Which 2004 storm struck the United States first? Was it Francis, Gaston, Ivan, or Jean?
Well, Gaston would definitely be a later run.
Which 2004 storm struck the United States first? Francis, Gaston, Ivan, or Jean? You can either go for one of these answers, take one of the two lifelines left, or walk away.
What are you making about Francis?
I think Francis, actually.
Or you want to do it on Lifeline?
We could do a lifeline. So what? Let's use a lifeline.
You've got the half-time lifeline or the risk lifeline. Not much of a choice there.
Yeah, this will take the half-time one.
Okay, are you going with that, David? So we go on to the next question. You are up to 90 miles an hour.
Right.
So that's given you something to hold on to. Basically, you will now have just 50 seconds, I think it is. 40 seconds, I'm sorry. You'll have just 40 seconds to decide whether you want to play it or whether you want to walk away. Or whether you're going to take the risk lifeline, okay? 100 miles an hour at stake here. If you get it right, here is question number 11, I'm sorry. I thought it was 11. Question number 11. Which of these Pacific hurricane names was used first? Was it Hazel, Fernanda, Juliet, or Linda? Any idea at all?
I've got that.
I think we might
I think we need to walk away at night to those at least keep that.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I think we should walk away and take this to hear this.
Well, not many people get to do it on this show, but Lee and David go away with dignity. They haven't got a question wrong, and they are going away at 90 miles an hour, a little bit beyond what they thought they would get to. 75 miles an hour was the target. David and Lee. David and Lee, thank you very much for playing. That was a very fascinating game.
It was indeed. Can I ask you something?
And the
What was
first
the answer?
Yes, the answer to that question. The correct answer was Fernanda.
Ah, right. Lovely.
Used way back in the 60s.
What a game that was, David.
The questions were getting harder, but no. Actually, Nathan, we did better on what I thought we would.
I know, we did.
Me too. I was about to run out of questions.
Yeah. That's a good game. I enjoyed
At that difficulty level, at least.
Considering I was racing Lee before the call, but it weren't good. 3 years.
Yeah.
Jeez, have our ups and downs, but
I hope what you're drinking isn't alcoholic there, David.
I hope not.
Cook's lemonade, mate.
Lemonade, oh thank goodness for that. Couldn't be caught drinking alcohol in there. Well, David and Lee go away very happy. They are one of very few people, I don't think anyone has actually left of their own volition without getting a question wrong, so I think you've just made history.
I think they have, actually.
Well done, Lee. Yes, well, we had a couple of trial periods, and
Alright.
Yeah, it was good.
it's been good.
Well, if you think at home that you can do better than that, you can look forward to joining Series 3, which will begin in earnest of the singles game early on next year. We're not sure exactly when that's going to be yet, but please send a message to us, contact@force13.com, if you are interested in registering that interest of yours, and try and take on the question and answer sheet, the question sheet. You give us the answers, not us giving you the answers, usually. That's supposed to be. You can also contact us through any of our social mediums about this as well, to register your interest there. For now, that's it from us here at Force 13 HQ Studio 4. We'll be back again with another installment of the Super Cyclone Challenge and 2 new people in the hot seat. That's all for now. We'll see you again soon. Good night.
Good night.
Well, that concludes another episode of the Super Cyclone Challenge. There they go, and now it's back to me again in the studio with more live stuff on the 3rd day of Force 13 Week 2018. I hope you're enjoying it so far. The team are still here. Let's just begin with David. David, what happened?
What happened?
A lot of people were complaining that you and Lee weren't very good.
Well, I've just put out a challenge to them, and for those that push the dislike button, you can get in contact with Phil 13. And
Don't put it on me.
No, well,
It's not something. It's not of my. It's not my concern.
You're the producer of the Super Cyclone Challenge.
Yeah.
You know what, they can message me.
So,
I'll let them message me.
for those that dislike, well, I put the challenge out. Come into Force 13 and see how good you are. But
Oh, I'm sure they will.
it was
Sure they will.
Lee's and my first round, and
Now
we
that you
really
said that.
enjoyed it.
Now that you said that, they're all undoing the dislike now.
Well, it was all Marcel's fault. I saw what happened in the chat.
There were 7, and now we're down to 1.
Marcel,
Why are you blaming me?
They want your Homestuck books, Marcel.
I will say this.
Marcel is about to make a lot of new friends.
I didn't say this off air, but I will say this on air. I will give you and Lee props, David. You guys did make a great run, and the thing I'm impressed with is you guys actually knew when to stop. So definitely a big applaud for you guys on that.
No, that was
I wanted to see the risk.
It was a very intelligent part of what they did.
Who's posting?
Sorry.
Who's showing cat memes?
That's Isaac.
Go, David.
Oh dear.
Go ahead, David.
Considering how much activity we've seen here in the Westpac, and for me being based over here on the east coast of Australia, it has been hectic, but as I just said, I enjoyed, and Lee, we enjoyed doing it for the 2018 week.
All right. Great. Well, coming up, we've got Member Debuts Part 3. It's a pretty short clip tonight, but there's one or two little gems in there. And we also have the 1985 West Pacific Typhoon season, which we'll be showing at the very end of this stream in about 20 minutes' time, or a little bit over. In the meantime, we've got about maybe a 15-minute slot or so to talk about any questions that you've got for us, and maybe a half-hearted review of some of the storms that formed in between, what was it, May and July 2018, because we're sort of doing a little review, sort of.
This is when we had Makuna, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
This time.
We had Cigar, Makuna.
Yeah, we had Makuna.
Cigars.
Letter through Gilma, Alberto, Beryl, and Chris.
Yeah, we had Alberto. That was the first time we really got to see the new update format for localized in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't show them.
That and the starting trend of the atrocious subtropical storm season for the Atlantic.
Well, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got
Makunu right here.
Yeah, we got Makunu
Here's
there, and
Makunu.
with Alberto late
against-
May. I don't know what happened I forget what happened in early July. What happened there?
Maria.
Beryl, Chris.
Yes, Maria in the West Pacific.
Really? It was that
Marias
early?
reached Category 5 within a year of each other.
Yeah, 2 Marias. My God.
We did live coverage on that one for quite a bit as well. I remember that.
Yes, we did.
Oh yeah, and you put
what else was July?
Maria.
Playlist.
What was that? Hold on. Who said something about the playlist?
Sorry.
No, don't mention the playlist. Don't.
Yes, definitely mention it.
Yes, mention it.
And
guys, we don't need to talk about this. It's okay.
No, I'm sorry. We can't hear what Frank's saying, Strat. I'll have to mute you if you carry on.
So Strat messed up the playlist. I think it was for Typhoon Maria. He I think he actually messed up and called it Hurricane Maria in one video. I'm not too sure, but he also put Florence in. Maybe it was the other way around.
No. He put main cut with all the updates of Florence.
Oh, I see.
They're fixed. Let's not talk about it, guys.
Wow,
We don't see an accurate representation.
There's questions in chat. Let's answer those.
All right, then go on.
Peak intensity
Are they good
was.
questions?
Keep your cap on.
Sorry, sorry, just a minute. Who's peak intensity?
Oh, here's all.
What do we think Typhoon's Maria peak intensity was, and when did it peak?
Typhoon Maria. So long ago now. So many Category 5 storms ago. I can't remember myself.
Yes.
Let's just say it was strong.
Well, that's helpful, isn't it? For people who actually want to know.
It really is, you know? People get good information when you say stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't even remember which number it
I put
was.
it at 160, if I'm correct. So that's what I put it at.
Was it 10W? 10W. Let's see if we can look at some images of the storm through here.
What storm?
Of Maria.
Oh, Maria. Let's see if I can find any of Maria.
Oh, not
which
Maria.
one? The Atlantic or?
No,
Typhoon.
the Westpac.
Yeah, Typhoon.
Oh, okay, the Atlantic one. Okay.
Here is a picture, an early picture there on July 6th. There it is again, looking like a classic 9.
Here's Maria.
Oh, and there it is near peak by the looks of things. Yep. Well, you look at that particular image and you would say 160, maybe 165. Just glancing at it. There's the storm after it weakened a bit heading towards Taiwan, and it did go on a gradual weakening trend, didn't it?
Yeah.
And it re-intensified back to 5 temporarily again.
So we had a question there about, do you think Maria should be retroactively retired in the Pacific due to the Atlantic Maria?
I mean, it's too late if you want to say that now for this year. You know, it already happened. It's up to the WMO, really, than us.
And have I ever been to the United States? Yes.
Yes. He toured the National Hurricane Center.
Just a minute, Marcel, what's going on?
Nothing.
No, nothing? Are you sure?
No, tell us.
Nothing at all?
I thought I had the microphone. Yeah.
You thought he had the microphone.
Sorry.
Marcel, tricks are for kids.
Some more Maria
did
pictures.
have an earlier question that we may have missed.
Probably.
Yeah, it was a question regarding, this is probably something that'd be your territory, Nathan. Will we be doing an animation like the 1997-98 Pacific Typhoon animation version 2 again?
Hold on, say that again.
The question was, will we do an animation like the 1997-1998 Pacific Typhoon animation version 2?
How can we do both?
Well, I mean, we've done 4 versions of the 2005 animation.
No, but he said 97-98 Pacific Typhoon season. It's either one or the other.
You just do both.
Oh,
just
thanks.
do one and then immediately continue on to the next year.
It's in the same video.
And then you can
Yeah.
do, and then you can also have the 1999 season afterwards and just continue on to 2018.
Because that won't take about 10 years before anyone sees a new upload on YouTube, sure.
Also, I'm sure people are wondering when we're going to see 2005 version 5 come out.
Never.
You know, it's been like 5 years, man. Everyone's waiting. No, it
hasn't.
Well, was the 97
3?
4 years. 3?
3.
Everyone's waiting.
I don't care.
Was the 97 animation the one that had the sound effects upon landfall?
No.
I think that might be the one they're referring to. No, it's not.
1996.
Okay.
Atlantic, different basin.
What
Okay.
what cyclone are you talking, Maria?
Well, we sort of were, but then we weren't.
Yeah, we kind of moved on from that.
What else formed? The Atlantic woke up, didn't it? So.
Oh yeah, woke up temporarily for like 2 hurricanes and then went back to sleep forever.
Well, I'll tell you what, my favourite picture of Alberto, it's our Facebook cover photo on Force 13. Looks a bit like this beautiful International Space Station image taken at night of Alberto in the distance. We're looking east there, that's Louisiana, New Orleans area on the right hand side towards Florida, over at the far edge there, and you can see, of course, tropical, I think, depression Alberto by that point, moving inland. That's just a sensational image if you ask me. And of course at the bottom of the image there is the large conurbation of Dallas, Fort Worth and Houston near the top right. Beautiful picture in my opinion.
It's amazing the shots that we get from the International Space Station.
I didn't even know that was Alberto.
Yeah.
I just thought it was some cool storm.
You know.
There you are. And here's a less convincing picture of Alberto. Shocking.
We got some more questions. Actually, we got a lot.
Shocking early picture of Alberto there.
Do a 2018 North Indian Ocean cyclone animation. Are we going to do that?
Here's Alberto. Here's Alberto again.
Probably.
Are we going to do? Someone's asking when the 2018
Atlantic
animation video. When I going to come out?
What?
Someone said 2018 Atlantic animation video. When I going to come out?
No, the season technically isn't done yet. We still got a couple of days left.
Oh, that. Okay, yes. Well, the earliest time that you'd expect to see it online is December 4th. I think it will be a little bit later than that.
Yeah. Someone also said, will you add satellite images for the 2018 Western animation?
I honestly don't know whether we should or not, because
How much time does that take, though?
Not very much. It's just whether people think it's distracting or not.
And then someone else said, this is from Marcel. Marcel, what job do you wish to have in the future?
A politician.
Marcel wants to be a politician.
Politician.
And Marcel actually goes to the school
Great.
where 2 Colombian presidents graduated from.
Don't remind him.
Someone also asked.
And then they have a student like Marcel.
Cyclone Katarina.
Hold on a minute. What's this?
What?
Isaac, what's this?
This is Alberto when it went inland and turned tropical.
Well, there we are. Now let's take a look at Beryl. Here's some images of Beryl that we've got. There it is. I don't know whether it was the tropical storm by then on a glitchy Go 16 image. Oh, that's one of the old model runs. That's how small it was. 113 miles of cloud coverage north to south. Tiny. The tropical storm force wind field was minuscule.
I think one of the Beryl's advisors actually poked fun at how tiny Beryl was.
Well, there it is on the screen now. Spot Beryl in the image.
Someone also asked, do you
Beryl
think there'll be
towards the coast.
another storm like Katarina in 2004?
When? This year?
Here's
Or
Beryl
what?
again.
Ever. Let's just go with ever.
Of course.
Here's another image of Beryl.
It's happened once, why won't it happen again?
Oh no, Alberto.
Let's see, any other images? Oh, this was one of our updates there. 40 miles an hour. Another picture when the tiny eye came out. You still believe what that storm actually did. Category 1, and it looked like that.
Someone else.
More
What
pictures
kind
of
of winter
Beryl.
do we expect in Europe and America?
Well, I would imagine a similar one that we saw in 2014-15.
Cold on the East Coast in America. That's what I can say.
I mean, it's already started that way, hasn't it?
25 degrees below average the day of Thanksgiving and the day after. And I was in New York City outside both days, so it really was not that fun.
So my best guess is it's a sign of things to come this winter.
Yeah, it was super cold.
And I'm not excited to shovel.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be a great winter when Fayetteville HQ and Ram HQ both registered morning temperatures below freezing this morning.
Oh yeah, I was outside at 6:45 a.m. this morning.
How were you doing?
In school.
Getting on the bus.
Oh, I'm sorry, I live a different
They
life.
They forced me to stand outside in 27-degree weather this morning.
Terrible.
That sounds about right.
Fingers
Leaving
were basically frozen.
That's about right. Leaving HQ this morning, it was 28.
That's actually quite pleasant.
Someone is asking, where do we get the information for your What Might Have Been series?
Lots of different sources. You'll want to message me if you want anything in particular.
Yeah, just like I did 5 years ago when I got Nathan then.
What?
No, just like I did. I took the initiative and emailed you 5 years ago.
Take the initiative. Here's a picture of Chris on the screen. I think it's near peak, what it looks like. How strong do you think Chris was, everyone? Do you agree with what they went with? What was it in the end? I always forget what it... I know that...
110 or 105.
Did they give it 110 or... I can't never remember whether they did or not.
I can actually
I gave
check
it
quickly.
110.
Yeah, they said 105, and that's agreeable.
That
we
sounds
actually have an
late,
article on our
Chris, there.
site written by Hank, I think.
That's right, we did an article,
That's
yeah.
stronger, Gert or Chris?
No, I wrote that one.
You wrote that one?
I wrote that one, yep.
And you think Gert?
Obviously, Gert was stronger than Chris.
You think it was a Cat 3. Hank does not.
Well, if you don't think Gert was a Cat 3, then Chris is barely a Cat 2, surely.
Yeah.
You can't go above 100 miles an hour for Chris if you think Gert was not a Cat 3. Just a small point.
I completely stand by that statement.
And there's another image. Looked quite good on that visible image there from Go 16. Obviously, visible
And we
can
have
be.
a lot of people in the chat talking about how cold it is where they are. And then someone's like, oh, it's sadly 80 degrees. Come on, Ryan, man, we gotta live in this cold all winter long. You should be happy.
Well, I gotta live in this heat all year long. This room is ridiculously hot.
Hello.
Get a fan.
Well, all the fans are away at the minute, but they're not at HQ.
You have 26,000 fans waiting to help you.
Me? No, most of them came from Marcel Strap.
What about me?
Yes, what about you? Most of the subscribers are only here because of Marcel. Prove me wrong.
Alright, type Marcel in the chat if you're only here for But let's see what happens.
Oh, God.
Marcel, can you turn on your face cam for us all?
Strat, what have we done?
Well, while we're placating to the Marcel fandom, for those that do want to read the articles that our team has put together on certain storms, you can always go to force13.com.
Yeah, well,
articles and enjoy the read.
You know, we're hoping to do a lot more on the website over the winter. Obviously, when we
There's the link to our website in the chat.
When things get, I think people know what our website is, but it is.
Oh wow, there's a lot of Marcel.
But it is still very dead at the moment, the website. So don't expect any miracles. But we're hoping to make a lot of changes and, well, improve it a lot over the winter. And maybe by the start of next season, you'll see something new. I don't know. Not something new, but you'll see it a lot more filled out.
We need the writers. We just need people to be little squirrels and type away. At the
Hey,
desk.
yeah. If anyone wants to help us and doesn't fancy the live event atmosphere, you're more than welcome to write articles for us. So if interested, send a message to me on the contact features. If you don't know how to contact us, half of it's underneath the description and the rest of it is on the about page. Yeah, well, I think that covers
Also,
everything. Yeah,
I think we can make it so someone can write it off as community service hours. I think that's a possibility.
I don't know about that.
I think there's a chance.
No.
I don't know where you're going with their strat.
So someone said, "I'm here because I love the channel, not just Marcel. Thank you each and every one of you for this channel."
That's so nice.
That really warms my heart.
Not bad. Wow.
Yes,
That's
we
so
definitely
nice.
do. Yes, we do definitely appreciate the love and support not only here when we do these live events, but also for those that are on the Discord. We appreciate the insight and input that you guys put there.
Alright guys, I'm sorry to cut you off, we're literally out of time. We're now going to show you the debuts part 3, and then we're going to segue into the 1985 Western Pacific Typhoon season. Ram's not going to like what he's about to see in just a moment. We'll get his reaction tomorrow.
Can we just...
Well, I'm sparing you some blushes,
skip?
Ram, because you don't get to react on the air, so you'll have some time to think about it. Here it comes as soon as I press the button.
I've already thought about it. Oh,
yeah?
dear.
I'm still getting to the button.
Oh my god. I was 12.
I've pressed the button.
12.
I'm pressing the button.
Press.
Christmas Eve 2015 saw the arrival of Ram. In the Skype room, he was known as Ram Turtle, and the voice was certainly not very turtle-like.
Well, there's no tornado warning here, as far as I know.
No, there's no. And where are you located?
Once again, I think I'm like
NC.
State, middle.
NC.
But I know, Devin, that there was 2 very large tornadoes, 2 wedges. One of them was in Walnut, Mississippi, and that was an absolute monster.
Since then, Ram has been on several of our broadcasts, most notably Hurricane Florence, and was also a contestant on one of the Super Cyclone Challenge game shows. Early 2016 saw the arrival of Hank Dulce from Texas. I'm sure many of you know him by now. He was first properly introduced during Cyclone Winston.
Maybe 175, because there's no such thing as 170.
So you're now agreeing with Michael?
And me. And me.
Ah.
I'm not sure about air
That
pressure.
is a first.
Michael will probably go with like 200.
No.
No.
That's the voice
Whoa,
of Hank, by
very
the way. Good evening. Afternoon. And one of the first things that happened in that stream was everyone complaining to him because of the small amount of background noise he was making.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm opening a package.
Opening a package.
Kill the background package.
Oh, Hank, you know a button that is called
Here's Cesar.
mute your microphone.
Yeah, I see it, because I speak fluent English.
There we are.
I speak fluent American.
Orlando first arrived on the project at the end of May 2016 during Force 13's countdown to the Atlantic hurricane season. Orlando has since supported us on over 83 hours of content in the intervening years and has been on most of our prominent live streams.
Well, I'm just trying to get them up on the screen. There they are. We've got plenty of people on the team, and we're giving them all an opportunity this evening to talk about what's going to go on in the Atlantic.
Just before Hurricane Matthew, another Texan joined us, Isaac. He couldn't really get a word in edgeways during the first live event that he was on, but he had a bit more to say during the formative stages of Hurricane Matthew.
Like a rocket.
God.
Shot off.
Cloud tops are just going through the roof here. Our latest cloud tops. Oh dear.
I hear you there. I hear you there, Thunder. What have you got to say?
It was me.
It wants its piece. It wants its piece. That's for sure.
Isaac, Hank, Cesar, and of course Marcel as well. So,
hello.
Who'd like to begin on this at this juncture?
Matthew, man. Can't believe it's already a 4. Went through a pretty much nearly explosive intensification from earlier today. I believe it was a category 2 or 1 this morning, Nathan, if I'm correct.
It was much weaker, I can tell you that. I can't remember.
I mean, something like that. But it's rapidly intensified.
Throughout the day.
It's just crazy. And the possibility of it hitting Jamaica. Jamaica definitely needs to prepare for
absolutely
this system, because it's going to basically be like a freight train going over there. If it does make landfall as a Cat 3 or 4, but it will most likely be a 3.
Isaac is a prominent member in our server and on the chat section of our YouTube videos, and is probably most famous for knocking out Marcel from the Super Cyclone Challenge when he failed the Risk Lifeline.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You just chose the correct answer, and Marcel has lost.
The last introduction in this part of the debuts is Strat Becker. He first arrived on a Hurricane Matthew stream on October the 3rd, just when we were beginning our continuous coverage on the storm when it was approaching Haiti.
And Strat over there as well. Is that what you'd like me to call you, by the way? We didn't confirm
That is
this.
my real name, so yeah.
Nice. And he is someone who hasn't appeared on here before, so warmest of welcomes.
Absolutely.
At this
Thank you very much.
most dangerous of times.
I think something to add in with land interaction is that it's going to be, I think the core...
Despite a faulty microphone, constant battles with Devon for airtime, and his prolonged hibernation beginning in late 2016, Strat has emerged as one of the most prominent people on the project this year.
You ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. You gotta come in when it comes in. After 8. 3, 4, 5, 6. Off he goes. He's an idiot.